And so, as we receive help, we're going to be taking match series with different discussions and issues that affect children's growth. Yes, our YouTube is connecting now, and I think we're ready to take this on. Just before we start, I want to plead with you. We have loved ones, friends, and families who have not joined us. Kindly share this, and let's have a great time together, learning and enjoying ourselves. Tonight, by God's mercy, we're going to be having this discussion led by myself. I'm Samuel Ojedeji by name. Okay, let me enable my camera and then I think we can start the session. Good evening, daddies and mommies, everyone. I want to believe you can all hear me and see me as well. I want to appreciate you coming and attending this match series, and I'm trusting that we'll have a great time at a very sensitive subject matter. I want to share my screen right away so that we get into discussion. Just some seconds, please. I'm sharing this screen. All right. I believe you can see the screen now. All right. So tonight we're looking at a very sensitive issue to discuss. And at the end of this session, I'm hoping that we'll be able to share some question and answer, rub minds, and gain maximally from this session. Tonight we're looking at the growing brain, implications for parenting. Now, when it is a wonderful thing to give birth to a child. And really, every one of us came to the world as children. Okay, we all came to the world as children. Please, I would like to know if you can really hear me, please. Can I have a feedback?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, let's go ahead. So we all came to the world as children, as babies, and of course, we know we don't remain babies. We don't remain very young children, who came to the world and is being wrapped in clothes. We grow, and the stage of being a baby is particularly characterized by rapid human growth. Rapid human growth. Now, we have had some discussions before now, in the first weekend, we had children's development, and Dr. Ojedeji had a session with us on deposition and delay. And also, Mrs. Ibimidu we were looking at autism. Now, our subject matter tonight is at the background of all these issues. Now, even though the brain is important stage that the baby, when the habit occupies and plays a very critical role in ensuring growth and health development of any child. And I would like to say that whatever affects the brain affects the child. Anything that affects, okay, thank you, sir. Now, whatever affects the brain affects the child. Okay, let's hope that we are able to have a better conversation with this. Whatever affects the brain affects the child and can be with long-term effects. Why is this so? Let's make progress. Now, this is an image of the brain. At times, this can be scary to see if you are seeing it real life and you are not in the theater room. The Lord keep us from every accident. In Jesus' name. Let's make progress. Now, with the understanding that children are developing, and that's very rapidly, and of the role the brain plays, as well as the position it occupies in ensuring the growth and development that we want in our children, it is critical for us as parents to know how the brain grows and how it affects us. How it affects us. What should we be doing? And for me, a major challenge is that, because the brain is an unseen organ of the body system, except there are issues, except in a situation that is not common. The brain is an unseen organ of the body system, and because of this, many persons, I may not be able to give you statistics or something, but many persons do not know, and we do not actually take care of the brain. And the impact is actually felt. We feel the impact on ourselves, we feel the impact in the society. And you agree with me that recently there were issues around mental health. Okay, but we are looking at our children. Now, going to make discussion, children have so much capacity that if we care to do as parents, we can really explore in their early years. There is so much a child can do. May we not remain in that school of on that in that belief that children don't know so much, they don't know anything. Really, they know so much, and they can do so much. I have the video here that would like us to see. Okay, it's not opening the file for me. Let me minimize this and play the video itself, please. It's a video of a child who, did something very interesting. Okay. Sorry, please.
Hola, yo soy Manuel Jesús, el papá de Hugo. ¿Tú cómo te llamas? Hugo Molina, y va a tocar tambor. Está nerviosa, ¿no? Pues a él yo no lo veo nervioso, él está encantado de la vida. Va a ser un filipolli. O sea, con esa cara de que no le importa nada, ¿sabes?
All right. I like to stop the video, and what I wanted us to gain from that, we have picked it up already. And I'll go back to the slide, and we continue with our discussion. Now, that was a child.
Now, that was a child, a very young child at that, and whom was, let me do maximize. Okay, so our children have so much capacity, so much beyond what you can imagine. And the brain plays a very critical role. Now, looking at the brain's growth at early years, there's what we call proliferation of neurons. Now, when children are giving birth to, the first portion, you see newborn. Now, these are neurons in the brain. These are things that we don't see with our physical eyes, but they are there and they are working. They are there and they are working. And as I said earlier, because we really do not know, because we really do not see physically many times the brain, we really don't know how to take care of it. Now look at a newborn. Now when you compare that with a 1 month baby, you see that we now have more of these neurons. Now compare it with 9 months. 9 months, now we see more. We see more. In fact, if I may say, almost double of what you have at 1 month. Now, this is still within a year, you know. Now, let's go to 2 years. Now, at 2 years, there are so much of them. There are so much of them. They will tell you they grow neurons, so many of it in a day. You know, and the reason is because they are new in an environment and they are interacting with the environment, and there is so much going on in their brain for them to be able to relate with the environment. Now, this is the last one, is that of an adult. And I want you to pay attention, you know, comparing that of 2 years and an adult. Now, in an adult, you will see that there are thicker portions, neurons. Now, in that of an adult, parts have been established and formed. That's why we can see thicker ones compared to 2 years, compared to 9 months. Now, neurons are done, but as much as they grow in their numbers, look at this at birth, see what you have. 6 years old, see what you have. 14 years old. At 14 years old, there is a little reduction compared to what we have at 6. But we have it, those the little that we have, they are strengthened, they have been reinforced. Okay? And it is for them to play better role in the function of an effective person. Now, I'm going to skip this. Now, the neurons that we see are responsible for all kinds of things in the development. Please permit me, I need to look at this image quite closely. This is from one of the lessons I've learned or courses I've taken. Now, when you look at the beginning of this chart, we have conception, we have months, and you see that it reduces to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. 0 is at the birth. And now from 0, it picks up again. 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, to where we have 12 months. And at that 12 months, we start counting years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and it goes on like that. Now, I need you to pay attention to this graph. When a pregnant woman gets to the 3rd trimester, of course, from the beginning of the pregnancy, you know, it's very sensitive. But at the 3rd trimester, more things begin to happen, and particularly the brain, because the brain is going to coordinate every development, sense organs that you can talk about. Looking at the vision, it is there. Looking at auditory, that's hearing, it is there. Looking at speech, language, speech production, it is there. And when we look at the next slide, there's something more interesting. Now, this is a sensitive period. Look at that place, it's circled. It's a sensitive period in development that no parent should joke with. But you know, if you want to be serious about this, what we need to be more serious about now is the brain. Again, the brain, because it is the brain that coordinates all these activities. It is the brain that coordinates all these things that are going on that we do not see with our own physical eyes. And it's so interesting because there's a lot we can do at this, this stage. Looking at the circle, you will see that it's in between at the beginning of 1 to 2 months. Yes, just about 2 months. to about 4 to 5 years. And you know what? This is the age when many a times parents don't take, I'm sorry to say this, it's not like we don't take our children serious, but as much as they are fine health-wise, we don't have problem. Almost every other thing, we don't take note of it. The child should not be sick. The child should just eat and should just be doing fine. As much as we can achieve that, we don't think other things are, are so serious and, cause for concern and all of this. But you know what? So many other things is going on that we cannot see with our physical eyes. They are happening. They are going on, and age. This when particularly I'm so concerned about it because it is a foundation laying stage. Now, from what we have done, when the neurons are proliferating, there is so much of them going on. These children are developing. And whatever we do not achieve in maximizing their development, sooner or later we will see that they enter another phase, which there may not be so much going on in multiplication of neurons, but there will not be what we call pruning. Let's go to the next slide. Now, pruning is a process, and it refers to the change and reduction in the number of neurons, synapses, and axons that exist within the brain and the nervous system. Now, if there is anything you want to help a child to achieve, we must do that early. You want to help a child to learn well. Maybe, you want to help a child to be able to read and write so well. At times, at that age, we usually leave them to play. Of course, play is very important. And I'm not underestimating it in any way. But then, children would not play, their playing is learning. Their playing is so constructive, and they are learning at that stage. And if we don't organize their play and structure it such a way that they can learn, then we will not be helping them to maximize their development. Let's make progress. Now, what can we do? How can we help our children that we are able to, one, take care of the brain, and while we take care of the brain, we are able to maximize their growth. We're able to maximize their growth as we train them and parent them. What should we be doing right? Now, I have a number of items here. It starts with nutrition. We have physical or bodily exercise, sleep, state of health, the environment. Now, I'm going to start with nutrition. Exclusive breastfeeding. This should not be new to many of us, but at times you have challenges, parents could have challenges, at one time or the other, raising, being able to breastfeed. I want to plead with us, if such challenges, happen to us while we're raising our children, please and please, I plead with you, seek consultation from pediatricians. Yes, the mother might not be producing enough milk at a time, and we'll have to seek alternative. The truth is that the child is not just taking the milk for taking its sake. The child is taking the milk, and the milk is helping in the development. You know that we know what the first breast milk means. The child must not miss the first breast milk. They get nutrition from it. They get enough nutrients. They get what you call immunization capacity. They get what helps them to build their body immune system. They get it. And the breast milk contains everything the child needs to grow at that stage. So we cannot deny them that at that point in time. Children need more vitamins and proteins more than adults. Traditionally, in the culture where I come from, the father of the house usually gets more meat or more fish than the children. You know, we only give them enough fish when they are still, babies. They've not started, eating the normal food in the house. But immediately they start taking the normal food, we stick to, we just give them little. We will give daddy 2 different fishes, and then children, we can be rationing it, sharing it. Sad and bad. Those children, they need that fish more than we do. I'm not saying you should not eat fish at all, because we also need to be, replacing our own use. But the children at their own stage, they are just growing those things that we are repairing. And they need it so seriously. So don't let us deny them. And of course, overfeeding should not be encouraged. It should be discouraged. State of birth. Please, health status must be monitored. I know many parents try with this. Please do not assume your children's health. Do not assume your children's health, because what you hear your child complain, there might be more to it. Don't just take paracetamol and that's all. No. Please see a pediatrician. Go to the hospital. And possibly you can have an health insurance scheme that might be helpful. Now, bodily exercise. Many of us don't do this. From the background where I come from, we don't engage in regular bodily exercise. The Lord will bless us. We are after how we can make money, put food on the table, and all of that. But the truth is that these things help our children to grow. It helps the brain. It helps the brain to be healthy. Not that we are doing so much, but our brain is just there. No, both indoor and outdoor, we should engage in it. It should be regulated and structured. Let's go to the next item. Sleep. Sleep. Very important for the brain. I don't know if this has ever happened to you, that you are at your workplace and you just seem to be tired and like you are not even making progress in your work. And you just take a very short, time of sleep, maybe just about 10 minutes. And you wake up and it's like the brain is reset. That is what it does. Sleep helps us to be in the right frame of mind. And we are in a generation where our children, we wake them up so early because they need to catch the school bus. The school bus is going to get home at 6:30. The children need to be up, maybe they'll be up at around 5 or 5:30. That is our mommies. These issues is not, we may not be seeing it physically, but they are affecting us. They are affecting our children. This is the recommendation. And if you look beneath, the American Academy of Pediatrics has issued a statement of endorsement supporting these guidelines from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine. Of course, because it's American does not mean it does not relate to us. We are all humans and we grow. 12 to 16 hours, including naps, for 4 to 12 months. 12 months, 1 year. 11 to 14 hours, including naps, for toddlers, 1 to 2 years. 10 to 13 hours. I'm sure we can see this. Now, let's help our children to be able to manage their sleep. If they need to get in bed early, let's encourage it if we are going to be waking them up early. if they are going to go to school to learn, the brain needs to be in the right position. Now, I want to talk about another thing, the environment. And this is very critical. I'm going to be playing a video here. We are looking at how the growth of the brain is and what we should be doing right. That is the reason for looking at, for having this session. Now, what goes on in the environment of a child is very critical. What is happening in the environment of your child is so critical. Sirs and masters, daddies and mommies, what goes on, I say that again, in the environment goes a long way in affecting our children. There's what we call ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. In an environment where there is violence, daddy is beating mommy. Mommy is fighting daddy. You know, also let me give instance like we have in some parts of Nigeria where we have violence going on, there is war and people are displaced. Children who are still young, sincerely, they are being impacted negatively by all of these things. In an environment where there's abuse or neglect, and I want to say something about neglect. You know, at times when a child is crying, maybe a child of 2 years or something, and somebody will say, leave him, leave her. After crying so much, you will keep quiet. Let's watch it. Neglect, it's terrible. That might be a little form of neglect, okay? And at other times, might be not giving attention, not giving care, not paying attention to a child. Witnessing violence in the home or community, having a family member attempt or die by suicide. It might seem those children are still very young, but it goes a long way in affecting them. A mother who, because of different things going on in the family, decides to run away and leaves very young children. The mother is not doing well. Leaves a child of 3 years, a child of 4 years. Who cares for that child? Even if anybody cares, there is the connection between the caregiver and the child has been established. It's there. And you just cut it off like that. It affects the child. Yes, it does. An abusive environment cannot foster good growth. It can't. It can't. A stifling atmosphere cannot aid good growth. And this is the thing. Love must be in abundance. But does this affect brain? Yes, it does. It does. The environment must be deliberately prepared to enhance growth. I will talk about this, but I want us to see this other video that I would like to share with us. Okay, so just give me a short while, please. I want to pop up the video. Just a short while, please. Okay, there's a video I'm playing for us to see.
Sorry. Okay.
Learning to deal with stress is an important part of healthy development. When experiencing stress, the stress response system is activated. Body and brain go on alert. There's an adrenaline rush, increased heart rate, and an increase in stress response. When the stress is relieved after a short time, or the young child receives support from caring adults, the stress response winds down and the body can rest more. In severe situations, such as ongoing abuse and neglect, where there is no caring adult to act as a buffer against stress, the stress response stays activated. Even when there is no apparent physical harm, the extended absence of response from adults can activate the stress response system. Constant activation of the stress response overloads developing systems, with serious lifelong consequences for the child. This is known as toxic stress. Over time, this results in a stress response system set permanently on high alert. In the areas of the brain dedicated to learning and reasoning, the neural connections that comprise brain architecture are weaker. Number. Science shows that the prolonged activation of stress hormones in childhood can actually reduce neural connections areas of the brain at just the time when they should be growing neurons. Toxic stress can be avoided environments in which children grow and develop are nurtured, stable, and engaged.
All right. Thank you so much.
Now we have seen the possibilities that a child can be impacted by negative things going on at home, in the house. And we just need to be careful as parents, because while we cannot see these things impact the brain, they have long-term effects. And if care is not taken, they can affect a lot of things in the lives of the children. Now, the environment of a child, say that the environment must be deliberately prepared to enhance growth, and as well, the kind of activities going on in the environment should be deliberate. Of course, children play a lot, and at their age, playing is what is actually needed. So there's nothing wrong about it. But there is learning through play, which is very, very important. Learning through play. The screen experience, when they get to the age of having screen experience at about 3 years, 4 years, please don't give phone to a child of a year. Don't encourage screen time at that point. They really don't need it. What they need at that point is social interaction. To be able to interact socially, learn language, communication, speech needs to grow. So they need us to interact with them and not interacting with a phone or a device. So we make progress. Now, when we do all these things, I have to go back to this slide, looking at the line, the last line. We are creating a path in their brain when we engage them in different activities. Somehow, because that is when the neurons are developing so much, already we are creating a path. We are getting them used to certain activities. And that is what they the path for those activities would have been created. Would have been created. Maximizing brain growth, the after of the brain, sleep, given the right nutrition. How can you maximize the development? There are items here: serve and return, with the child, communicating with the child. I have a video on that, but I think we can still make progress and probably come back to it. Use of play, I've said this. Please, parents, let's really seek to learn how we can use play to achieve learning. I'll give you an example. By the time our children are growing and they are getting into 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, one of the ways you can go about helping them learn is to role play. Act drama. Yes, you need to act drama. Act drama, small drama in the house. This is what children will normally do on their own when they are amidst their peers. You can do it to teach them lessons, make them learn. It is possible, it is allowed, and you can. Create the right environment. Make the environment colorful. It's very important. Make it engaging. Okay? Let them have things they can learn with. And of course, let's keep things that are harmful away. They have different stages. When they are at the oral stage, when almost anything they place their hands on goes to the mouth, let's be careful of what tastes are in their environment. Also, let's help our children gain right experiences with travelings, landscapes, sightseeing, natural environments. Not letting them shopping is not only when they are going for shopping. Let them learn to appreciate natural environment. These things would help their development and help our world to be better. Use educational materials. Use puzzles. Team building activities. Yes. But please, when you are doing these things, make sure they are age appropriate. There is a puzzle that a 4-year-old, 5-year-old will be able to solve, and there will be another one that is appropriate for a child of 10. Of course, there are children that are G&T who can, attempt activities that are beyond their age. They are beyond their ages. It's fine if you have such a child. But when you are relating with a child, you want to give them age-appropriate puzzles. There are games that can help them learn. But please don't let us make game, what you give them when you don't want them to disturb you. If you want your child to learn through game, why not play the game with your child? There's no big deal about it. With that, you can reinforce learning. You are playing game with a child. If there's anything to call the child's attention to, you will call the child's attention to it. If there's anything in the game, see, we are in the 21st century. There are so many things going on in our world, and there are people who produce games and all of that. We really need to see those activities ourselves to be sure that is what our children can do. So that when you see something wrong, when your child is playing game, you are playing game with your child, and they are using certain characters that they should not be using, you can call your child's attention to it. You can withdraw such games. But if what you do is just give it to the child so that they don't disturb you, then we are not doing well. We are not doing well. The Lord will strengthen us and help us. Serve and return. That's last video, and then I think we can take some questions before we stop for tonight. Let me look at the video so that we'll see it just a few minutes. I will ensure I share these videos in our parenting support community, which is hosted on the WhatsApp platform, so that parents can have access to it and you can see it for as long and as many times as you would like to see. Let me quickly bring this video up so that we see together, and then we'll take some questions. Sorry.
The key to forming strong brain architecture is what's known as serve and return interaction with adults. In this developmental game, new neural connections form in the brain as young children instinctively serve through babbling, facial expressions, and gestures. And adults return the serve, responding in a very directed, meaningful way. It starts very early in life when a baby coos and the adult interacts and directs the baby's attention to a face or hand. This interaction forms the foundation of brain architecture upon which all future development will be built. It helps create neural connections between all the different areas of the brain, building the emotional and cognitive skills children need in life. For example, here's how it works for literacy and language skills. When the baby sees an object, the adult says its name. This makes connections in the baby's brain between corresponding objects. Later, adults show young children that those objects and sounds can also be represented by marks on a page. With continued support from adults, children then learn how to decipher writing and eventually to write themselves. Each stage builds on what came before. Ensuring that children have adult caregivers who consistently engage in serve and return interaction beginning in infancy builds a foundation in the brain for all the learning, behavior, and health that follow.
All right. Thank you so much.
The key to forming
We have seen what, as parents, we should be doing. Don't say the baby is so young, I cannot communicate with the child. You have to communicate with the child. You must speak, yes. When the child is pointing in that particular direction, you look into that direction. You help them to learn. As they grow, we make reading her habits. Read with them, read to them, read with them. Whatever you want your child to do it with them. And I want to preach this. Let's start early. As God helps us, let's discover our children early. Let's place them on a particular path early. A child can start early learning a particular skill. Don't say the child is still too young. No. The little exposure you can give at that point, give. The pathway will be formed in the brain. That's just what I would like us to understand and wrap up with. When we address development early, the pathway will be formed. There is a point where pruning takes place. There's a point where pruning takes place. This is pruning. After this stage, neurons that are after this, and the child is now getting to 8, 9, 10. Of course, they are still developing. Physically, we still see them develop. But the thing is that it is, you know, the neurons that have been strengthened, that have been used over time, maybe through certain activities, they will receive more strength. While the ones that have not been used over certain period will be dropped. And that is why we have this last image, such that the ones that we have used over time, they become thicker. And the ones we have not used, they are the ones that are pruned and, you know, they are you know, given up. So if there are things we want our children to learn early, maximizing their development, you want your child to read, introduce reading, not until the child is taken to school. You want your child to learn certain skill, introduce it at their stage. It will help them to grow. It will help them to have neurons, to have their brain wired to do those activities as they grow. But if you just give them as they are growing, all they do is just let them not disturb me. You give them food and they are playing. We are causing more harm than good, because eventually, of course, they keep growing. But the truth is that it is those things that attention were given to that neurons will be strengthened to do. And that is why at times we struggle with our children. We do not help our children to learn while they are young. When they now start schooling, there will be feedback from school and that they are not doing very well in academics. I will not be beating them. And they are not studying. They are not doing this one. And many times, the fault is from us. We do not help. Who says they cannot listen? They can. They can hear. Even a baby, a pregnant woman, the child that is still within the womb, at the third trimester, as the third trimester sets in, organs are developing, and before you give birth to that child can hear. Yes. So let's do this early as parents. The brain is growing. Neurons are being produced from time to time, and at a certain stage, going to 4, 5 years, they will be pruned. And those things that will help them to do early would likely be the ones that will be strengthened. The Lord will help us as parents so that we will not fail in our responsibilities. You want a child to learn scriptures, start early. You want a child to know God, start early. It's important. Anything you want a child to do, start early. And the wisdom we need, the grace we need to be able to do this, the Lord grants and give unto us. It is well with us. I think with this, we can take questions. And if you have anyone who has any issues that you would like to raise with us, this would be a good time to take them. We are grateful. Thank you so much. Yes, let's take issues. If you have any questions, please flag your hand if you're in the Zoom room. And if you're in YouTube, you might want to post your question in the comment section. And then we'll see how to pick it up from there. Yes, I'm waiting to see flag of hand. I would appreciate that if you're in the Zoom room and you have questions, you would actually ask directly. I mean, you would voice it and not post it in the chat room. And if you're on YouTube, yes, we will pick your question from there. We'll pick your question from YouTube. Yes, any question from the Zoom room? Yes, anyone? No one is saying anything. I hope I've been communicating. Please, can I have a feedback? Can I have a feedback of, like, let me know if you can hear me, please.
Hello, sir. Yes, we can hear you. So we can hear you, sir.
Oh, all right, sir. Thanks so much for letting me know at least. Okay, so that means I'm able to communicate at least. All right.
Thank you.
Maybe we seem not to have any question. Okay. Well, okay, I'm trying to check the YouTube if you have any question on YouTube now. So that we can, at the absent, we should be ready to stop for tonight. Trying to see, sorry, please permit me. I'm trying to check the YouTube. YouTube viewers, any okay, I don't seem to see any question there. I don't know if I'm not seeing it. All right, this is what we'll do. We'll stop for tonight since we are done with the session and there's no question coming up. Once again, we want to appreciate everyone for connecting.
Max, I may come in the evening around 5 to mark them and to decoration to them. Okay? All right. See you.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for the lecture. We're so blessed by you. We so much appreciate it, sir. Right. So at a point in time, I think I had I'm yet to research as regards that. But at a point in time, I think I had someone I do respect. I was talking about adding fruit to your like fruit per day to your child's diet, especially from a certain age before the child gets to 6. I don't know if this is a fallacy or is actually or is it a factual statement.
You mean to give them certain amount of food per day?
Yeah, fruits.
Okay.
Fruits and vegetables.
Yes, sir. Really?
No, as in, yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir. Do you want to make any addition?
No. I just wanted I wanted to actually get if you actually got the question.
Okay. Now, children, as we have noted, it is a critical period in their development. Proteins, vitamins are so critical because they need it to stay healthy, and not just to stay healthy, they need it to grow. So I would encourage that we have fruits. Well, we may not be able to measure it, but rather than buy biscuits, buy sweets, buy all these sort of things that we buy for our children, particularly when they are going to school, let's rather give them fruits. It's better. In fact, it's much better because usually fruit will be natural. It's not processed. Maybe apple or banana or pineapple or something. If you get it in the morning and we put it in their lunchbox when they are going to school, they will still likely be able to eat it at their break. The break might be around 12, maybe not even up to 12, depending. So it's still what they can take. So it's better. It's better. And really it aids development. Even adults need it, but much more children. So I may not be able to say certain amounts, but let's make it often. And as well, vegetables. It's okay to eat vegetables. It's good. And I will only say that we should regulate it so that it does not lead to purging. So, but there are good food items that give nutrients and give what the body needs. And it should be encouraged to give our children. It is encouraged. Hope I was able to address the question.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it, sir.
Thanks a lot, sir. With this, we'll come to the end of March series for tonight. And we are trusting that we're going to be having another wonderful session tomorrow. We trust that we're going to have another wonderful session tomorrow. It's going to be so great. We're going to be learning a lot. And this time, we have been able to look at our children, development, looking at their physical development, brain, different parts of their development. But tomorrow we're going to be focusing on their spiritual growth, which is very, very critical. And I want to plead with you to please invite friends, invite loved ones, invite them to join us tomorrow. We need to be able to help our children grow and even, preserve their Christian experiences. We need to know how to make spiritual things engaging for them. It's very important. So please, I would encourage that you are part of tomorrow's session. Please don't miss it. And let's have another great time together. This is March series organized for our parental support community, put together by Faith Ministry. And the assignment you have is to raise godly seeds. With this, we'll come to the end of this session tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. We are very grateful, and we hope that you have got value for your time. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. through the same links, kindly join us to have tomorrow's session. Thank you so much. Let's have a blessed night rest, and do say us warm greetings to all God's heritage in your care. Thank you so much, and God bless everyone.